do you got?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. Welcome to my review for the first season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Now I did review the first couple of episodes, I think, of this when it first came out. Those of you who watch my content, watch my channel, will no doubt know that I'm a big fan of Star Trek. I have been ever since I was a young boy growing up. I used to sit and watch it with my dad, and he used to take me to the cinema to see the films. So I've got a real love and affection for the Star Trek franchise. Now, I will be the first to admit that I have not watched every TV show that there's ever been. You know, I'm a big fan of the original series, Next Generation. Didn't mind some of the Deep Space Nine, but that was kind of, I didn't really watch Voyager or the Enterprise one. And these new ones, since they came back, Discovery and stuff, I've not watched, mainly because of the negative response from Star Trek fans. So I don't kind of want my love for Star Trek tainted by not a very good TV show, I suppose. Now, I'm a big fan of the Kelvin timeline films, the Chris Pine films. I do think they're absolutely wonderful. I know they've got their critics, but I think they're pretty good Star Trek films. So I was cautiously optimistic about this new show, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, because a lot of the buzz was that it was going back to its roots of Star Trek and taking us right back to like the original show. And for those of you who don't know, this series focuses on Enterprise before Kirk was captain, when Captain Christopher Pike was in charge. If that name sounds familiar, then yes, he was in the Kelvin Timeline films, certainly the first couple, and in the original series he was initially the captain of the Enterprise in the pilot episode that was never aired initially, and then came back later in the show when you saw him like in the chamber, really disfigured with radiation burns and all that kind of stuff. Well, this 10-episode show of Star Trek Strange New Worlds does exactly that. It takes the show back to its roots, and I have to say, I have thoroughly enjoyed this Star Trek show. It's been really good. It's not been bogged down with agenda writing, I suppose you could say. It's actually focused on what makes Star Trek great, and it's just telling good stories. And like, if you go back and watch like Next Generation as well as the original show, you know, you watched it every single week and there was a different episode, obviously with familiar characters, with the same dynamics and things. But you had an original episode each week, and that's what Star Trek Strange New Worlds has done. Each episode has got its own standalone story, if you like, anchored by some well-written and some strong characters. Now, the only real negative I could give you about this show is I'm not overjoyed with some of the casting for some of the characters. I'm still not convinced about Ethan Pecker's Spock. I think he's decent, but he's certainly not as good as Spock in the Kelvin Timeline films, the Chris Pine films. And some of the other characters as well, I was just not particularly enamoured with. I kind of got used to them by the end of the 10 episodes, and I started to get some real affection for them. But I'm just not overly convinced about some of the casting. And the final episode, we get to meet Captain Kirk, which was a real joy for me. However, I was definitely not enamoured with the casting they chose for James T. Kirk. He just didn't resemble Kirk at all to me. Now, I do think the real standout of this show is Anson Mount as Christopher Pike, this tortured man who knows that in a few years he's going to be confronted with an incident where he will save some lives but also be disfigured, that will end up putting him in like this chamber thing when he's got terrible radiation burns. And you see that weighing heavy on him throughout the whole 10 episodes. It's quite a nice arc, and it finishes it off beautifully in the final episode. And I do have to say, I can't honestly tell you any episodes that I thought were weak. I thought they all had merits. I thought some of them were better than others. There's one I remember that I thought was the worst one. Can't even remember what it was called. But it was the one like with them space pirates sort of thing. I didn't like that at all. No, I wasn't keen on it, put it that way. But I have to say the 3 episodes that we got to finish this season off were flawless. The third one, like that episode 7, I think it was. I didn't initially. I thought initially it was a really crappy episode. It was about them in like a story. The doctor on the Enterprise reads like a story to his daughter, who he keeps in the transporter because she's poorly. And then they meet this entity that kind of puts them all on the Enterprise into this story. Initially, I wasn't keen on that one. It seemed a little bit over the top. But I thought the ending of it was an absolute emotional hammer blow. So it really got me all emotional by the end of it. So it really made up for it. And then the final 2 episodes were just outstanding. Really good. The final episode, it kind of revisited an old episode from the original series. The episode where Kirk confronts Romulans for the first time. And there's like this cat and mouse chase between them, where Kirk eventually comes out as the winner. And they perfectly recreate that in the last episode. And they kind of cross it over with timelines and things. It's just pitched absolutely brilliantly. Honestly, I couldn't fault it. As a fan of Star Trek, I thought it was really, really good. As I thought this whole show was good. So I think this has nailed the essence of Star Trek. I think this has given the fans what we've been asking for a long time. Something really, really special. A Star Trek show that we can really embrace and be proud of. And this is easily the best Star Trek show, I think. It's just a bold statement, because I know the other shows have their fans, but I think this is so far the best Star Trek show since Next Generation, and I know that is a bold statement. So, yeah, guys, if you've not been sure about checking this one out, honestly, you won't be disappointed. If you like sci-fi and you like Star Trek, it's an absolute belter. There's a few low points in it, some of the casting, but the writing and the episodes themselves were absolutely wonderful, and I can't really fault them for the most part. So, yeah, I'm really excited for season 2. So, I hope you enjoyed this review, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back with loads more content on the channel very, very soon.